Hey man, y'all got beer still?
You've seen the stories. Now, writer Mike Barron and artist Todd Mulrooney are bringing the quintessential Florida man, Gary Duba, to life. Gary's just a regular guy living in a trailer with his girlfriend Crystal, but he's got dreams, big dreams. He just invented house suspenders that will secure any home to the ground in rough weather. And now he's going to show them off on Piranha Pool, the TV show where venture capitalists and entrepreneurs pony up if they like your pitch. But when his gal Crystal gains notoriety as an infamous amateur wrestler, she quickly advances to the pro circuit where her greatest challenge is an angry Australian grappler. Follow Gary and Crystal on their extraordinary journey from rags to riches. To rags, to riches, to rags, to riches. All while dealing with shady lawyers, toilet snakes, wild gators, cheating hearts, feral hogs, and problem shoppers. Back Florida Man today and reserve your very own copy of the Florida Man graphic novel. We're bringing back funny books, y'all.
All right, we are live, and we have the men here themselves, Todd Mulrooney and Mike Barron. Welcome, fellas.
Thank you.
Hail and well met. Great to see you guys.
Absolutely, it's great to have you here. Oh, well, we have another guest here. Oh, it's Blue Samurai's in the house.
Hello. Yes, it's a full house today.
Smiling Bandito and Poland are all here to have a chat with these wonderful creators. And yeah, this is a great honor. And what a book this is! What a reception this book is having. Just fantastic.
What do you guys think? Have you've been welcomed by the community? Comicsgate has opened up for you?
Yes, we have been welcomed pretty much across the board. There's no hidden thing here. I mean, obviously, I am Comicsgate, and Mike is just a 30-year veteran of the comics industry. Who's a great writer, so he doesn't have to declare anything. He's just awesome. That's
there
it.
You go.
We're gonna get into that a little bit.
Well,
Mike,
I'm for Comicsgate to the extent that it means a quality product.
Well, I know that's what I'm all about. I just sent out a tweet actually saying someone asked what Comicsgate was, and I'm going to try and quote myself here, where I just said you got thousands of fans and hundreds of creators, all just wanting to make agenda-free comics. Outside of the influence and purview of people who've taken it over just to turn it into a medium for activism, for radical politics.
That's exactly
we're not
right.
about that. We just want to make good comics. That's what we're here for. And we've got a bunch of people in the chat, which is fantastic to see. I feel like I've just stopped streaming just a couple of minutes ago, but no, I did go and pass out on my bed after streaming in the middle of the night. We've got What About? He says, hail. Oh, Red Valkyrie's here. She says, hey, doll.
Great to see you, Shay.
Great to see you.
And
Felix Hass is in the chat.
Antoine.
Posting links. Thanks so much, buddy.
Shay and Antoine? Wow, we're lucky.
Is that Shay Anton Pensa?
No, so Antoine is
Never mind.
But yeah, we got the sexiest chat in Comicsgate.
We do. And we've got some people turning out, even though there's a load of people streaming at the moment. We've still got people here, which is fantastic. They want to come here and meet the creators of this book. Guys, what we like to do on this show is, before we go into the book, just get to know the people behind the book a little bit beforehand. Mike, you're, like you just said, 30-year veteran of the industry. There's people in CG, especially, watching YouTube videos, who might not be aware of your background in comics. Do you want to give a quick rundown on your background there? Because it's pretty extensive.
Sure. I broke into comics with Nexus in 1981 with my partner, Steve Rude. We were in the right place at the right time. Capital City Distribution was the second largest comic distributor in the world at that time, a multi-million-dollar company in many nations, and they wanted to publish comics. So Dude and I went home and I brainstormed the first 12 pages of Nexus. And it went like this. I thought, what would make for a compelling character? With every time he showed up, somebody died. That would make for a compelling character. But I had to make him sympathetic, so I made him an executioner of mass murderers that appeared to him in dreams. He was a reluctant executioner. He was chosen by an insane alien to be the conscience of his race, a mantle he donned reluctantly but has worn ever since. And on the basis of Nexus, which Capital City Comics published, I began to get offers from Marvel and DC. Carl Potts asked me to write Punisher, and Mike Gold asked me to write The Flash. So I was off and running. I've been writing comics ever since.
Fantastic. What a great history. And Todd, what's your background in all of this? How did you get into drawing comics?
I had tried and got really close when I was younger. And comics really were something I was pursuing hard and heavy, and bringing my pages to the conventions, because I'm living in Springfield, Mass. So New York is a train right away. So I was really hitting the Javits Center when they were one of the biggest conventions in the country. And I had gotten some mentoring and stuff for some pros, and really got kind of close. There's a few things that I was scheduled to do that got sort of fell through the cracks, and companies that I was all set to go forward with that went bankrupt. So I kind of got jaded. I was a little disenfranchised by the whole situation, and eventually found work in a field that satiated the same side of the brain where I was creative. I worked in gun manufacturing here in Springfield with Smith & Wesson. And I was a polisher, and I learned engraving and stuff. So I'd never really looked back. But when I was laid off, I got back into really thinking about it and saying, if I don't do this, there might be some kind of regret that I have in the future.
Yep.
So eventually I went to becoming a digital artist. I got, a lot more confidence that way. I was never crumpling up paper. I was able to fix the things that I was doing. And eventually along came Paul Kupperberg, who asked me to create a character with him that was a derivative of the question. So we created a character called The Blank. And his only difference is he didn't have a trench coat. He had like a sort of Tom Ford suit on. And his face was chrome. So he had that sort of Silver Surfer look. So instead of that blank sort of fleshy face, when the enemy was looking at him, he was seeing himself. So it was a little more menacing. And off that's where I started, so I that was my first published work. A few covers and stuff like that here and there, and some other failed Indiegogos. I was part of a Tales from Beyond the Gate, and I was actually doing a Mike Barron story in that, which we've kind of forgotten about. It was Tales of something about Rorschach, and he was a former actor who had played a vampire. Yeah. So that's kind of where we kind of had another start. I don't know which came first or the timeline of all that, but I was set to do that story, and then that didn't fun. So here we are today with Florida Man, and away we go.
Fantastic. Good to hear. I actually hear a lot of correlations with my own story as well, in what you just said, going out of it and then just having that feeling like, wow, if I don't start now and doing something, this might be something I come to regret later on in life. Antoine has a question for you, Mike. You also created Badger, correct?
Yes.
And you got a couple awards under your belt too. You got an Inkpot Award, and did you get an Eisner? Did I hear that right previously?
2 Eisners.
2 Eisner Awards.
Wow.
There you go. Yeah.
4.
So dual Eisner Award and an Inkpot Award.
Do you guys remember The Punisher, right? When The Punisher was taken out of
I think I've heard of that guy. Yeah.
When he was taken out of just being a guest character in Spider-Man and other books, he had one limited series with Mike Zeck, and then I think a second limited series again with Mike Zeck, and then they gave him his full-time series. Mike Barron was the writer of #1 and really fleshed out the world of Punisher. He's the one that created Microchip and kind of gave him sort of this whole new personality.
I treated Punisher as a straight crime story with no supernatural elements.
Nice. Yeah, and that's what we needed. I think we need more characters like that too, where it's just like because the idea of the fantasy of our comics is that it is people who shouldn't be able to overcome their challenges being able to do so. But
yeah, I've actually got a copy of that first Spider-Man where the Punisher is in it, and yeah, he is just kind of another Spider-Man villain in that, except he just has a really, really cool outfit compared to most of the other Spider-Man villains. But yeah, so that's cool to know that you were integral in fleshing that whole thing out.
Yeah, I wrote Punisher for 5 years.
Amazing.
Wow.
Got some more people showing up in the chat. Shane Burgess says, "G'day, Hal, gentlemen." Hex Allen is. He said he's really impressed to see you here, Mike, and as we all are.
Thank you, boys.
So look, guys, I'm from Australia. I've never been to the US. I heard you've got an Australian wrestler in there, but what is Florida Man? Could you let me know what that all is?
Have you seen the stories?
I sort of tangentially, like, I have an idea in my head.
You're in Australia, but if you're in this country, you can't avoid them. There's a site called floridaman.com, which pulls them all together, and they're probably 10,000. There's a couple every day. Florida Man claims syringe and rectum is not his. Florida Man arrested for defecating.
The rectum or the syringe?
The rectum. He was born with a syringe. And I began to think about this character, and it just gave me the idea to try and put that experience in one guy and write a story about him.
So are you the first guy who's taken this, what I presume is, a newspaper or whatever, news clippings, Florida Man does this and it's all crazy stuff. You're the first person to put that into a fiction story with an actual character?
I don't know that for sure, because he's very popular, and if you search for Florida Man, you'll find dozens of sites, and there are several Facebook pages that are Florida Man, Florida Men, and the same on Twitter. I think, though, that I may be the first to put it into a novel and call it Florida Man. I know some guys who've written about Florida, and it's very funny stuff, like Carl Hyacin. But this is not that. This is an attempt at mythic structure, because Florida Man has become a mythic character through his many exploits. But again, I'm not trying to capture all those exploits, some of which are sordid and disgusting. And Gary Duper's not that way. Some of the stories are pretty outrageous. I guarantee you that your head will explode and your eyes will bulge out of your skull. It's the funniest comic ever written. You will burst out loud laughing over and over again. But Gary is in many ways the most admirable character in the book. He's got a heart of gold. He's just a little hot-tempered. He just makes bad decisions. And he's always looking to make money. It's just one scheme after another. And that's the basis of a lot of his exploits.
If there was going to be an Australian Florida Man, we'd probably call him Queensland Man.
Right.
If anyone in the chat is an Aussie, I know I see Shane's here, but I'm guessing it's sort of like the meme that just keeps going. How long has this been
Wouldn't he
a
be
thing?
a Bogan Man?
No, I think Queensland Man would work better, because Bogan is just too broad. There's something specific about people from Queensland that I think would just be the closest to what Florida Man's got going on here.
Don't we have comic skaters from Queensland?
Yeah, I'm from Queensland originally. It's not a bad thing, is it? I mean, Florida Man looks like he's having fun.
He tries to have fun. He has a good time.
We look at so anyone north of Florida, certainly, kind of looks at Florida as where all the lost souls kind of seem to go.
That's putting it nicely.
That's putting it as nicely as I can. But it's a place for partying and for lost souls to find themselves.
Well, Gary loves to party, but he's serious about working for a living. He's a roofer when we meet him.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and his pal Floyd is a pest control expert who goes around poisoning pests, and Gary helps him on that. And he may have handled the poisons a little too much, and it may have affected his brain, but he carries on nonetheless.
Yeah, that sounds like Florida.
We definitely do need some more funny books. That's for sure.
Yes.
I guarantee you will laugh out loud.
We've got the Mike Barron guarantee. This man knows his stuff too.
I wish I could tell you what's in it, but it's too outrageous. We don't want to give away the tricks.
Oh yeah, we don't need to give away all the dates. Look up here.
64 pages.
64
pages. It was 56, and now it's gone up to 64. Was that a stretch goal?
Well, we're stretching for it. I don't know. Todd wanted to draw more wrestling, so we're going to expand the wrestling scene a great deal.
I wonder why.
It's a chance to obviously, hit the female side of things as far as the cheesecake and the wrestling, and it obviously it's a part of the subculture too, and geekdom and nerddom and all that. So it was really a chance to sort of lean into that kind of thing, and we knew it would appease a lot of people to see some of that.
Well,
come on down to Floyd's End of Humanity sale.
I think you have like the market as far as comic space goes. You're going to have the market on the rubbish bin for all of Americana culture.
That's what we want.
I mean, obviously this is a subculture part of Florida. I mean, not that it's just, by the way, I mean, you got the Appalachian Mountains, which is probably filled with the same kind of stories, just they don't get out into the print world very much. But it's just a look, our character is the quintessential Florida man, and that's really it in a nutshell. So like Mike said, it's like if he had done all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not lowbrow humor though. It's middlebrow.
Well, hopefully some of it is
middlebrow, right?
Middlebrow. So he's invented what's he invented here? Something to hold the roof down?
Suspenders.
House suspenders.
I wear them myself.
And he's gonna try and that's how he's gonna try and make it big and make his millions.
That's one idea. It's one of many, many ideas. Gary has a lot of ideas. He tries a lot of different schemes to get ahead.
Something's got to catch.
We actually, see now I am really connecting now. We actually have a sort of a similar kind of guy here in Australia that's always just trying to invent something and make it big, and sinking all of his time and money into this thing because he believes in it so much. Well,
there's a couple of things that aren't in the graphic novel that will probably be in the next one that is in the novel. And one of them is at one point, Gary decides to open up a restaurant specializing in iguana. He calls it the Lizard Lounge.
Sounds like my kind of place.
I'd go there.
He grills it, he bakes it, he roasts it. Iguana in many different flavors, many different recipes.
What about says he can see this as a fun TV series? Yeah, it's a follow up to what's that one?
Tiger King.
I was thinking in the Trailer Park Boys.
Oh yeah.
Everyone says that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's the same kind of thing, but it's about a bunch of guys with ideas who are
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and Trailer Park Boys is the same kind of idea where it's low budget. They go from trailer park to trailer park all across Canada, and they film a new episode every single location that they end up going. So it always looks a little bit different, but it's always the same. And that's kind of like Florida Man. It's like every trailer park is the same, right? Every Florida Man is the same.
Well, I mean, his schemes to get rich vary wildly.
Mm.
But it's never just straightforward.
So what's the story with the wrestlers here?
Well, that's his girl Crystal, who becomes an overnight sensation, and I can't tell you why, because that's one of the big surprises in the book. But because of her overnight fame, a wrestling promoter comes to her and says, "You'd be perfect for ladies wrestling." So she gives it a shot. And that's another plan they have to get rich. That Chris is going to become the world champion in the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling League, but things don't work out that way.
There's the thing I see in movies. Again, forgive me. I'm just really talking from things I've seen in movies where people in this area, they just eat anything. Is there any truth to that?
Well, there is an element of truth to that. Certainly in Florida Man. But again, we don't want to give away too much, but there's a show about that. I think it's on the History Channel, of course, where they go from country to country eating the most bizarre things they can, like baked tarantula. My own sister had a tarantula recently, and she was showing us photographs of it over the 4th of July weekend. I couldn't believe it. My own sister eating tarantulas.
They sound crunchy.
Yeah, there's a Florida man who died at a cockroach eating contest.
Is that a real thing?
Yep.
Florida man dies at cockroach eating contest.
Kill them while he was
Florida
eating them?
man dies at cockroach eating contest. You can look it up.
Yeah. We should have prepared a little bit for this and brought up some of these articles.
Boys, just go to floridaman.com.
Who wants to do that? You do that, Bandito. Look what's going on here. This is them getting into a fight with someone in a bunny suit.
The whole story. I believe that Gary initially attacked the rabbit because he thought it was making moves on his wife, Crystal.
I like the army cargo shorts too. Good touch. Hex Allen says everything you hear about Florida is real.
That's right.
I actually lived there for about 4 years during my college years. And honestly, this wasn't as big a phenomenon then. I think social media, because I'm old, I think social media and stuff like that is really perpetuated this whole notion. And now it's a meme, and now it's got hashtags of its own. And more, it's got a bunch of different websites. There's an aggregate site for your birthday. Just put in your birthday, and it'll spit out a bunch of stories that actually happen on your birthday. So it's got a built-in kind of thing that we can tap into. As far as, obviously Mike said, we're not going to do all those stories. Some of them are gross, but it's endless. The nugget to mine is huge.
Yeah, you'd never run out of inspiration, would you?
Nope.
So Chris Braley is doing editing and marketing.
Yep.
Yes, he is.
From Bleeding Fool.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here without Chris. He's the only one who knows what he's doing.
He was on Ethan's channel yesterday, I think, talking about this whole scandal with the secret women's
Whisper Network.
Hens Knitting Club, Whisper Network.
Yes.
Yeah, the cluckers, hens clucking in their coop.
Yeah, the scrying hags.
That's absolutely one way to put it.
But right. I mean, obviously, that's huge news, and hopefully it rocks the industry a little bit. It maybe kind of brings it back to where it should be. I don't know. Mike is the first one to tell you the number one thing that his job is to entertain you. And I think that's kind of lost its way in some of the mainstream.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it will. I think it's too far gone. I mean, that's just my pessimistic view of it. These people.
I don't think the big two can come back from this. They've just squandered all their goodwill. They haven't put out many good books in years. And all the action is in the independence and on crowdfunding.
It's definitely where all the fun and excitement and interesting things are happening. I mean, could you imagine a stream on YouTube of people just talking about what the new kind of mainstream thing coming out of Marvel is? It would just be so boring and tame, and you wouldn't be able to have any fun, or definitely no drinking, no jokes.
You go to their YouTube and they're not even really selling the comics. They're selling.
Yeah, they're doing cooking shows.
Yeah, it's so bizarre to me. I mean, wouldn't you just love to have some of your creators go through process or stuff like that? Like, I know a lot of people get bored by that, but I could watch a guy tell me about his process or his coloring ideas or sort of his workflow. I could watch that all day. But over there, they're doing a bunch of knuckleheaded nonsense with, I don't know.
Yeah, they're so far gone over there. That's why I don't think that this scandal of this group being revealed will be seen as a scandal. It'll just be, yeah, what? We get together and, you know, we need to because we're in such danger in this industry, blah, blah, blah.
It depends what keeps coming out. So, I mean, if... Sorry, we're talking about the Whisper Network? What are we talking about?
Yeah, the Whisper Network.
Yeah, it depends what keeps coming out. So, I mean, like, if it turns out that it's just, them hanging out, you know, being chatty Cathys behind the scenes, then, yeah, you're right. But if it shows them being with malicious intent, and then they can tie their words to actual actions that have taken place, I mean, there becomes a lot more nefarious intent that can be placed upon them, right?
Yeah, this article from the other day is just the first of a series.
Yeah, so we'll see what continues to come out, and it doesn't really matter to me how bad it gets. People need to know that those kind of spaces aren't safe spaces for them. So,
I think it's great that it's coming out and everything, but just with the way everything is in the world, you know, from politics to what's happening with the pandemic, I just don't think any amount of truth or anything being revealed is going to ultimately have any effect. The people who've already have seen what's going on and are fed up with that, they've already jumped ship. Everyone who's still on board with, you know, the mainstream and everything, they've already kind of closed their eyes.
I hate to have to stop you, but I'm actually talking to a number of people who were a little bit safe spacey in their groups and stuff that they had before. And as this stuff has been coming out, they're asking me now, you know, what is all this stuff with Ethan Van Sciver? Like, tell me what's really going on here. And then to introduce them to Comicsgate, I actually give them your videos, your cartoons, Michael. And this is literally just happening this week, that they are wanting to come over. I think showing people that, you know, who you think, when stuff like this comes out, I think there's going to be people who reconsider it.
Well, I hope you're right.
Yeah.
I agree with him, though. I think because I know a lot of industry pros and stuff, and they're talking kind of the same way, you know, and they ask me questions too. And I just say, well, one, you got to come see for yourself and see how welcoming it is, because I think that's the fear. Is they come forward, they come over this side of the fence, and then they are, you know, looking at the side they came from and go, I can never go back. But you have to come over here without that fear. So as soon as they get over the fear, I think you'll see more people come. And it doesn't mean they have to raise a flag and climb the hill. It just means, you know what? I believe in the idea of putting out a good book without an agenda, throwing myself into the narrative, because that's one of the things they love to do, throw themselves in the narrative, and also that, you know, you're not indoctrinating me, you know, like say
there's no preaching.
Yeah.
The writer's number one job is to entertain, and I think that's what we should all keep in mind. That goes for the artist too. Our agenda is to entertain, and we look for the most gripping entertainment that we can create. My goal whenever I write is to grab the reader by the throat and drag him into the narrative to the exclusion of all else. I want the reader to be that absorbed in the story with no distractions. I want him to buy that story 100% and not say, oh, that wouldn't work, or, oh, come on. No, the story's got to, you have to believe the story. Even as a funny story like Florida Man, and I know how to do that. So my number one rule is my job is to entertain. Number two is to show, don't tell. And number three is to be original.
So speaking of story, is this your first straightforward comedy, or have you done others before?
Well, I've written funny stuff before, but as far as a full-length comic book, it's not my first full-length comic book. I did a couple of Clone Zone books, but Clone Zone's a character from Nexus who's an alien stand-up comic that looks kind of like an alligator, and we call him a lizzigator.
I'm sorry, Mr. Barron.
I'll throw a picture up there on Todd's feed. Mark Nelson drew Clone Zone, Many Adventures. Mark, of course, is a genius.
Mhm.
Just throw this up there.
Mr. Barrow, actually, what I asked was comedy, not comic. Is this your first straightforward comedy?
No, because Clone Zone was a straightforward comedy. Here, I'll
Oh,
use
okay.
a second. And because that's the nature of the character. He's just stand-up comic. Todd, can you throw that up? Is that possible?
Sure. Give me a second.
Yeah, well, anyway, that's what I love to hear. Getting thrown into a story, getting dragged by the throat into a story, and being held there, and not having everything be so self-referential and ironic.
That out of the story, you say, "Oh,
Yeah.
they're giving me a lesson. I didn't sign up for a lecture. I want to be entertained."
And so, as a writer, what's the best way to? Is it just stay in the story and forget? What do you usually chop out to make sure that you keep your reader in the story?
Well, I use every trick in the book. A story can be fascinating because of the plot, because of the ideas it presents, because the character is compelling, like Sherlock Holmes, and you can't get enough of him. Or it could be the narrative voice, a very seductive narrative voice. And a good writer uses all these to create a story. It's many things, as I said. Here's Clone Zone, entertaining the crowds.
Nice.
And we did a bunch of these
What did you
with
call him?
characters.
Crocagator?
Litigator.
Litigator.
A litigator, not a litigator, although he used to be.
We have a process question from Antoine Dennison for you.
Yep.
He's asking, do you still communicate the story to the artist using thumbnail breakdowns?
No longer, Antoine. It gave me back problems because I was never trained formally to draw. I used to draw each page out by hand, and I did it for many years, including most of the Punishers. Now I write full script, and whenever I undertake a story, I write a detailed outline beforehand, and that outline is designed to be fun to read. It's not just a map for me. It's something I want to be able to hand anyone, and they race through that outline and say, "Yeah, now where's the story? I got to read it."
Nice.
And then I begin to work on the comic, and it's just straight script style, like page 1, panel 1, horizontal, day, exterior, the Florida swamp. We see Gary's trailer down by the swamp and his dock extending into the water with his swamp buggy at the end. Stuff like that. And then you have the dialogue coming out of the house. Where's the coffee? I don't know. You put the coffee away, but whatever it is, and that's how you draw them in.
Well, here we go with Florida Man. And I thought I was going to have to flip through a couple pages. But this first page has so much gold in it that we're not going to get much further than this. Florida Man calls 911 multiple times, asking deputies to bring him ice cream and liquor. He wanted his pistachio ice cream, of course, and a little Jack Daniels to wash it down. This seems rather reasonable. I'm not quite sure.
Very mild, very mild.
However, this Florida man sets his hospital bed on fire to get the nurse's attention.
I've done that.
So Florida man, he thought that he wasn't getting enough attention, set his hospital bed on fire, according to the new the Smyrna Beach Police. John King. And that's the other thing too. All these Florida guys, they all have names like John King or Jack Small or something like that. It's his hospital roommate told authorities he saw King on object. He saw King and object on fire. Florida man wrote this as well, apparently.
Yeah, I don't think they hire very good editors to.
No, probably not. And that's not really what you need them for. And then there was this one down here too.
Oh, I've seen this guy.
Drunk, shirtless Florida man shovels spaghetti into his mouth at Olive Garden.
Again, we can all identify with this guy because we've all been there.
Yeah.
Who hasn't?
It's like those TV commercials.
Some days
when I got my DUI, because everybody does.
It's just like, gimme. Yeah, just give me some pasta. My name is Eddie.
It's
I like
you get
spaghetti.
unlimited pasta at Olive Garden.
That's what he figured too.
He could conceivably still be there.
By the way,
nasty.
guys,
I was just looking at the other ones. There's some nasty ones in there too.
Yeah, I didn't. That's what Mike was saying earlier. Is that not all of them are so savory.
Well, we have only the best taste.
That's right.
I've been doing some little memes of them, taking some assets and just throwing the article behind it and just saying, like the one with the teenage boy who stuck his member in a beehive. And I just let her
thereby earning his beekeeping merit badge.
And I just wrote in his word bubble, "Tell me where it hurts." You know what I mean? So it's some of the it's easy to market, by the way, and those are quick little things. I've created a bunch of assets along the way, and you know what? This is an awesome story. Mike's such a talented writer. Whatever Mike has left to do of his career, whether it's another 30 plus years, he deserves this to be huge because he's entertained us for this long, and he's entertained us with awesome stories, never written a bad one. I know people who love the stories that he wrote that he doesn't like himself, and they just go wild for him. So how do you not back Mike Barron? I mean, seriously, this guy's incredible.
Thank you, Sonny.
It looks like a lot of people are backing it. Let's look here at you've got. Is this a metal lunchbox?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Very popular.
Is it gator proof?
Yes, it is.
There's you can get an exclusive digital copy of the graphic novel, and who wouldn't want this?
It's a must-have item.
The Florida Man beach towel. Come on.
Ass titty.
Hey, it's a great art too on that.
Yeah.
Florida X.
I love the
This
logo.
is a great T-shirt too. Yeah, just a nice big logo on it.
I love our logo too. It's very marketable.
That's a lot of problem with a lot of T-shirt, comic book T-shirts is, as much as I like the art, I don't think I'd see myself wearing it as a T-shirt.
Not anymore. I mean, back in the day when I was 20, I had a lot of the shirts that had artwork on them, like Joe Quesada and stuff like that. But as you get older, you don't want to be that loud and that noticeable. And this is kind of classy and
classy.
It's a conversation starter too.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't even have to be about, people will just see it and they might know about Florida Man. Or here in Australia they might, but obviously probably in the US they will. And then you can, it's like, oh, actually it's a comic book that I've got. There you go. All right, well, there's some more stuff down here. So you got to contend with my Australian internet here. Things load slowly. So you got stretch goals.
That is a towel started out as a postcard for the landing page. Like, you exclusively come to the landing page, sign up. So it was it was just a home run. Obviously, we picked our colorists by having 4 or 5 people color this postcard, and knocked it out of the park. There was this quality to it. I don't know if you remember, they used to colorize photos with artists that would paint them. And it had this sort of quality that when I looked at the water of some of those old photographs, his water really matched it. And I was like, you know what? I really like this. So
who is it?
This is Iksan Insanori. He's from Indonesia.
Mm-hmm. Another Indonesian colorist.
Yeah.
You got a few of them. Very nice. Yeah, it's a great art. Great piece. So that's become the towel as well. So you've unlocked that stretch goal upgrades here to 64 pages. And the next one looks like a bonus postcard. And then you got a bunch to come. We need to get you up there too.
Absolutely.
You got a lot planned.
There are add-ons under some of the perks too. So, just poke around a little.
You can buy in at any tier, by the way. Anyone that's interested, buy in at the lowest tier and get any of those individual items that you want. If you don't want to buy in that party bundle pack, that has it, like the whole kit and caboodle, everything that we have. You can buy in at just the book level, and if you want the towel or if you want the lunchbox, get it. We even have an extra book, like if you want a second copy, that's $20 instead of $25. So we've been really fair with our tiers. There's not a lot of extra in that bundle. It's not about. It's really about getting you the book. Obviously, Michael, you know that we want to put the book in hands.
Yeah.
The number that matters the most is the backers. You get 800 backers that you can turn into 1,000 in the next campaign by their own word of mouth because you made them happy. Then you've done your job.
Have you guys only been live for 6 days?
No.
So this is the second month of it.
Well, yeah, we put it up at 52 was our initial.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're going right. Okay, I see what's happening. Okay. I was just trying to, because I was about to say, wow, that's really impressive for the first 6 days, but no. All right, yeah. It's
a well done.
It is very impressive. Yeah. Absolutely. There's nothing to laugh at. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got a few more questions. It's not quite the fun stuff, but I mean, we've got Mike Barron here. The guy is a classic comic writer. Poland wants to ask you something. Go ahead, Poland.
No. Go ahead.
All right. So for guys who are just starting out in writing, what are the mistakes you've learned from as a writer?
Show don't tell sounds so simple, but it's really hard for a lot of people to learn. And what that means is that you're working in a visual medium, and it's up to the writer to tell the story. You can't leave anything to the imagination. If you're a good writer, you see the whole thing. You're the director. You see it clearly. So any information that you can give that advances the story that you can do visually without words, you should. But that doesn't mean the characters shouldn't speak. Words are essential to a good comic because there's less of them. They have the potential to have so much more impact. So you use your words primarily to reveal character and occasionally to advance the plot. I always recommend the first lesson is, what's your story about? When somebody asks you that question, you have to be ready. You can't hem and haw and say, oh, it's like medieval stuff, like Game of Thrones with orcs and stuff. No, you have to have a concise, enticing description, like Gary Duba is having a bad day. There's a snake in his toilet, a rabid raccoon in the yard, and his girl Crystal's in jail for getting naked at a Waffle Hut and licking the manager. So Gary sets off with his best friend Floyd to sell his prized Barry Bonds rookie card to raise the $500 needed for bail. But things get out of hand. So
now they get out of hand.
So you have to
it wasn't out of hand before.
You think about your story and you encapsulate it in a pithy description like that. And that's a very brief one, but you know what I mean. It's enticing.
But then
that's what I would tell the writer to do. That's what the writer's first job is, to learn how to describe his story so that people want to read it.
And what I got from that, a lot of show don't tell, is the thing that stuck out the most is using for me was using the dialogue to show character. I've noticed the stories I enjoy when I have to sit down and analyze them, they do that better rather than having one character comment about another, which is more manga style. Japanese tend to do that. So about another book of yours, I think Offworlder, if you don't mind speaking about it, it didn't take, and I thought it deserved more attention. Is there any intent to re-solicit it in the crowdfund?
Yes, there is. And again, this is one of those books that delivers on all 12 cylinders. The quality of the book is so high, it's astonishing to me that it wasn't able to fund. If the goal of Comicsgate is to produce content you want to read, that you're excited about, Offworlder should be at the front of the pack. We're going to bring that back, and we have plans to do that. It's too good not to get out there.
Well, sometimes it's just about building that platform, and you have to give something different in order to get everyone's attention, or it just takes the time.
Right. And Offworlder was not my idea.
Yeah.
I just took it and ran with it, but Florida Man is my idea.
And as well, it's a new thing, isn't it, with YouTube? A lot of people, like we've got Poland here. He's not a comic book guy. You know, he was never into comic books. He got into CG. You know, just from YouTube, and you know, found out about this, and you know, started buying his first ever comic books.
Good for you,
So
Paul.
there's people out there who, you know, they have no connection to the greater comic book world, and so all they're going to be seeing is whatever, you know, is being shown to them on certain streams and stuff like that. So you know, it really is just the unfortunate nature of it that if you're not out there in front of the maximum number of people's faces, it can be really hard to convince people to buy stuff, even with a 30-year track record of writing comic books.
Yeah, you gotta be a big presence on the internet, and you do that with controversy. Like that's not me, you know.
I think we're proving there's a lot of smaller channels that we're proving that you don't necessarily have to do with controversy at all. You can just you know, do shows like this, talk to people about writing books.
This arrangement of Laura Croft and the background image, I think, really sells this channel right here.
I thought that was you.
I noticed that. It's it's a interesting placement of the crotch area.
The craft area.
I want to say that I'm very lucky to draw Todd as an artist because he's a monster and he gets better every time he sits down.
Oh, that's awesome. But, you know, I would also say just being able to be in front of people, you don't have to be controversial. It is familiarity that creates. And you look at Michael Bancroft here. He came out of nowhere without any controversy, has stayed out of all of the politics and schisms that have happened over the last 6 months, and has done really well with his book.
Don't make him a target.
He has... been out though in front of people's eyes in order to be noticed, and you know, he then additionally has the product to back it up. I say it's the exact same thing.
I want to sorry to interrupt, but
no, please do.
Look,
you have to interrupt.
Up in there, Todd. Do it.
There's a lot of good creators, and there's a lot of talented creators, and there's obviously different levels. There's somebody like Michael himself, who's he can do this at any level, right? We've seen his work. The Lucent 2 pages where there's a big cityscape and you got that one character, and then on the other page you can see her in the building. Absolutely friggin' brilliant. So there's always going to, no matter what happens in the mainstream industry, there's always going to be people who want good product, escapism, great stories. And you know what? The cream rises to the top. The book, that's a freaking brilliant. That's a double. Looks like you made a print out of it. Oh God, I gotta have that.
It's a poster.
Oh my Lord, that's a brilliant double page spread. Absolutely top notch. In the image, the person who you can also see in the other side of on the building in a reflection is very small. And this is a key thing when it comes to art. The way you draw people into your story visually is by long shots that bring them into the world, so they get a great idea. Where am I? Some of my favorite artists pull that off very, very well. And I've always been a preacher of the long shot. That helps you bring them in. You know what I mean? And Michael's incredible talent deserves everything that happened with Lucent. Looks like an incredible book. And there's a lot of that. And anyone out there, don't doubt the indie revolution, because regardless of what label it has, we're giving you fun, exciting comics. There's no agenda in them. There's no, narrative that's indoctrination or anything like that. This is escapism, and there's always going to be people wanting that.
Yeah, definitely. Mike, Antoine has another question for you. He asks you, do you still partially own Nexus? If so, could you envision bringing it to crowdfunding?
Steve Rude and I own Nexus jointly. We have plans to publish a new book next year from Dark Horse. It would have been out this year if it weren't for the virus. I just self-published a Nexus novel, of which I'm extremely proud, and I'm working on another one. And I am publishing a 3-issue series of Nexus that's going to be drawn by Kelsey Shannon next year through Splato Comics. The dude and I are very tight. We're good friends. We talk about this stuff all the time. He has no problem with me doing a separate Nexus series because he understands that he took liberties with my script and it's no longer my own.
Hey,
That's awesome.
What's the proper title on that Nexus novel you just self-published?
We kickstarted it, but I'm going to have a bunch for sale. Let me throw the book into
the chat.
Todd's feed here because that's my own. That's the only way I can communicate with you people. I'm not very tech wise. It's a miracle.
It's all
You
right,
could
man.
put it in. Do you know where the private chat is?
I'll show it over here on this
Okay,
side again. Yeah. I got you, Mike.
By the way, if people don't get enough of Todd Mulrooney, you can find him Friday nights on the Pontificators.
That's right.
Which is the Pontificators always on Artsy Bear's channel, or does it go around to different channels?
No, it's always on art.
Okay, yeah,
Yep.
we love Art here. He's come onto our show a couple of times, and yeah, we're obviously massive fans of
We've
Artsy
been
Bear.
getting drunk with him whenever
We have.
possible.
We have, and I want to do it more.
Mm-hmm.
Art
There we
is
go.
An incredible guy. Nicest guy in comics.
Just
Archie
Yes.
Bear, we love him. I can't get
100%.
enough of him. Fantastic artist, just beyond the pale, really.
So this was on Kickstarter.
Yes, the campaign is over,
Okay.
and that's what the book's going to look like.
Now,
Oh,
the
nice.
campaign is over. Is there gonna also be another place to get this?
Well, we're going to overprint, and then eventually we're going to put it up on Amazon. But I'm going to have a bunch to sell.
Okay.
Okay. And you can always, if you choose, if you're in the mood, you can do follow-ups on Indiegogo for stuff that was on Kickstarter and just print more.
Well, I will tell that to my Kickstarter master.
Yeah, I have seen people do that too. Yeah. What are you sharing there, Bandito?
Well, if we had a pause, I happened to scrounge up a couple more of these stories.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
Walmart evacuated. Why can't I find?
Yeah, he led police on a 3.5-hour chase, the slow motion chase through the attic. You know.
Bendito, can you
somehow.
scroll and give it a read? Or
I will as soon as I find out. Okay, I couldn't figure out where I put the window. I got like 1,000 things open up on my computer here. All right, Walmart evacuated because of dangerous things, I'm sure, right? After Florida man found crawling through the ceiling. Walmart was evacuated after Florida man was found crawling through the ceiling. Deputies say the man refused to come
Thanks,
down
Todd.
and had to be tased in order to be subdued. Where was he going to go? Worker, come down. No. Workers in the store called police around 1 p.m. after finding the man crawling through the ceiling. When confronted, Florida man refused to come down. After numerous verbal attempts, he was tased.
Do you reckon they got in there into the ceiling with him to tase him, or they just kind of just shot him from below?
Currently, there are no charges pending, though.
Could you
No,
He's
scroll
learned
up to
his
the
lesson.
Can you scroll up to the top and click on that dude with the wide neck? I love that guy.
Yeah,
just
there's
to
that
be
one.
badass, I'm going to reckon they shot through the ceiling tiles. You know.
There is a better one, though, just beneath it. that
The
we
neck.
will-
All right,
Yeah.
check that out.
What the heck?
Oh, my goodness. Hey, if you got a canvas like that, you have to put some paint on it, right?
That's right. That's right.
Wide neck Florida man enters mugshot Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Boys, I got to bow out.
Okay, Mike.
I got another
It's been an honor to have you on here.
Thank you for having me.
No, thanks so much, and best of luck with the rest of the campaign. I think I'm definitely going to have to back it because I need to know what happens to this infamous Florida man now.
We're like 1 or 2 backers away from 300%. So it's a magic number where we have another press release ready and some sort of big announcements that are part of that press release. So,
Mr. Barron, before you go, there's one of our listeners, El Gargoyle, wants to tell you that Biker is an awesome book, and he wishes you would make Josh Pratt.
Thank you, El Gargoyle. The script is written, and it was almost going to happen, but it didn't. But, who knows? I may fund that next.
Anything could happen now with crowdfunding.
Well, it is a great honor. Great honor to have you here. Thank you so much, Mike Barron.
Good night, sir.
Take care, Mike.
That's so cool. Thanks for bringing him along, Todd.
I know. I was very excited when you said he'll be coming along.
Yeah, he's really, he's the show. He's the big guy. He's the big kahuna.
Todd, you're okay too.
Yeah, thank you.
We love you too, Todd. It's
also, Todd, thanks for throwing together that little Pontificators, out of schedule episode you did yesterday.
So,
you've muted yourself, Todd.
That was our actual second time we did that, and I was actually the person that got us to do it the first time. It was the Dan DiDio news. So, obviously having Chris Brawley as our project manager, and we knew this story was going to come out. He actually gave us a heads up of what time it would drop on his website. So I had to do it. I really wanted to get as many eyes on it as possible. And
insider trading.
Yeah, a little bit. But it was an important story, by the way. I mean, regardless of the outcome, I know everybody wants, in this kind of situation, you kind of want justice, right? They've canceled a bunch of people. Let's be honest. They've gone after some of what we call the creepy guys of comics, and I don't blame them for that, right? Because they would know. They would know way more than we do. But there are people that are associated with the creepy guys of comics that knew exactly who those people were that they kind of left alone. So they kind of pick and choose who they want to go after, but that's not all they go after. And that's kind of what you saw sort of in the at the very end, the tail end of that article was, if you're right-leaning or you happen to grow up in a Republican household and your ideology is that of the Republican Party, well, to them, you're on the bad side. And I never have gotten that, because people, you're nurtured into those kinds of things, right? Maybe somewhere along the way, it's kind of like religion. You're born one religion, and maybe along the way you decide it really wasn't for me. I don't want to go and eat the body of Christ as a wafer. So maybe you go into a little bit the same ideology of that religion, but it's just a different name. It's the same kind of thing. So why are those people looking at on one side of the fence, looking at the other and saying you're bad? It's not, I'm not the biggest fan of our president, but let's not even go there. But these things are happening in that story, and you'll see more of that. It's not just that they go after the creepy guys. They go after the guys who don't think like them.
Yeah, that's the thing about the mob. It's a very efficient and powerful method of eliminating unwanted things, but the problem with it is it's uncontrollable. Once you release the mob, you don't then get to choose where it gets pointed, and that's what happened with Me Too. I don't think there's a single person who was bemoaning Weinstein getting Me Too'd. But then they started just turning on anyone and everyone, people who had a bad date, or like we saw in comics now, someone who's a bit of a player who'd like to have lots of girlfriends. Just you can't control it once it's out, and I think that's what we're seeing now, that they get together. Maybe they did have good intentions, and they thought, hey, we've got a lot of people here in our little chat group. Maybe we should coordinate and sort of out this dude who's been a real terror. And if that happened, then fine. But then they're like, oh, now who are we going to go after? And now this, and some person says, oh, this person has this opinion on something, and you can't control it by then, and it just gets out of hand.
That's
one thing.
Mr. Silly.
One thing that you'll end up seeing, by the way, is enough information will come out where you'll see lawsuits that are going to start because of it. because you could see that at the very end of the article that someone was going to use their Simon and Schuster friends or their ability to talk to people because they also have a book deal to make sure that Richard Meyer's book got killed.
Yeah.
And that's tortious interference, just like the Mark Wade. So let the lawsuits happen, and that's how it stops. When you go, guess we went a little too far with our little sewing circle. Yeah,
you won't get away with it anymore.
Yeah, you went too far.
If Simon and Schuster is in Texas, I don't know where they are, but if they're in Texas, they could probably be added to the lawsuit. I'm sorry, not Simon and Schuster be added, but whoever was doing that, contacting Simon and Schuster, could be added to the lawsuit alongside Mark Wade, because you don't have to succeed at interfering to commit the crime. You just have to try to interfere.
Right. You're absolutely right. And that was Heather Antos, who's also an editor at a big company.
So yeah, she could be co-defendant with Mark Wade, or just separate. I don't know. You know what I mean? If Simon and Schuster is in the right place. Otherwise, they'd have to file suit in that state.
Right. Actually, that was Alex DeCampi, I think, was doing that. She has a Simon and Schuster deal. She was going to go and back channel on Richard Meyer.
It's really disappointing getting back into comic books, or Poland here getting into comics for the first time. You find something, you think, okay, this might be good, and then you find out you just spent $15 on a total scumbag like DeCampi.
Yeah, being fresh, I've had to really be cautious about stuff like that because, one thing in the era of President Trump is that things have become very clarified for me. People have revealed themselves to be either one way or the other in very stark manners. So, there's a lot of stuff I don't want to back with my dollar.
Yeah.
There's something I want to back with my dollar.
This
Florida Man. We got to close it out, guys. The hour is up. This book just looks and sounds great. I was so happy that we got Mike on to give his perspective on the background of it and everything. That's fantastic. Todd, you're a great artist, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Michael, don't create any mental images. I know it's tough, but I really want that beach towel.
Too late. Now, only because you said don't create any mental images.
I was just gonna say,
picturing you now lying on it.
You're supposed to want the beach towel. That's why it's being offered there. But you saying don't have any mental images about it is what creates the mental images about the beach towel.
Exactly.
He's been tweeting at me.
There's a tier that I have that's still there where you could be seen in about 6-7 pages of the book. It's the ladies' valet. That would be their manager, basically what a valet is. I mean, they used to be called managers. Classy Freddie Blassie and Lou Albano, and those guys were managers.
Yeah.
But you got guys like Paul Heyman, or some. I really don't watch wrestling as much as I used to when I was younger. I've kind of watched it a little bit here and there with my son, but that's an opportunity to be in the book for 6 or 7 pages.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And where's that? That's
It's one of the tiers.
There it is. Be a ladies wrestling valet. Just $1,500, and there's 2 left. So anyone out there with that kind of scratch, jump on it.
If there's ever a valet I'd want to be,
scratch it together.
Yeah.
I'll let you pick. By the way, I'll let you pick sort of the theme of your outfit.
That's cool.
You could come in looking like a pimp with a cane, or whatever we could come up with. I'll let you be part of that, and we'll get your look down perfect.
Very good idea. Very good. Marsupial Gamer says, I think my girlfriend would like that beach towel. Maybe I'll get her one too.
There you go. You got to be considerate.
That's a great twist on the old Coppertown logo.
Yeah, thank you. That was a homage to that, and it was a perfect idea, and the whole thing came out good. I mean, one of the things I did, there's that 2/3 kind of rule. Well, I did another rule that I learned along the way. It was that oval rule. So the characters are all on an oval. All of those, every single one of those leaves from that tree, well, guess where they're all pointing? And so it is one of those perfectly balanced compositions that you rarely, sometimes you're drawing a line, you're not even thinking that, but it's important to kind of move that eye in just the right way.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Todd, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks so much for coming on and talking to us about your new book. It looks great. It sounds great. It's being received really well. Thanks again, as always, to Bandito, Poland, and Blue for hanging out.
Cheers.
I just realized again, my brain is so fried at the moment. I had invited someone on from the UK, and then I said, oh no, we need to do it on my Saturday, because that's the only time I'll be able to get up at a certain point to be able to have you on at a reasonable hour. So I might be streaming again in, I don't know exactly when, like maybe tomorrow morning or something, whatever it is, but it's going to be another unusual time. So yeah, everyone out there who wants to come in and check that out, we'll have someone on there. I'm going to announce that shortly.
Yes.
As soon as I've got it locked in. I've got to wait till it's all locked in first. Yeah. So guys, chat. Thanks so much for coming along. Or
Hail
what
the
do we
chat.
say? Sexiest chat in Comicsgate.
Amen.
Thank you so much for your questions and comments. They were really great.
Thanks for engaging, Mike. I really, really appreciate it. Mike's a legend.
Yeah,
No,
that's what I was
he's
about to say.
fantastic.
It's not every time you get a chance to, to bend the ear of someone like Mike Barron. So yeah, that was really great. I'm so happy that he came on the show. All right, guys. Florida Man, graphic novel, volume 1, and we will see you next time. Cheers, boys.
Hail and well met.
Bye.